Good morning, good afternoon, and good day. Doug Pedersen here. Thanks for checking out these videos. Here I am once again upholding my commitment to post something of value each week this year on my Facebook page. Today's video 17 and we're talking about choices. So if you've been watching the video series over the last couple weeks, or really we've been doing this for the last 4 months, you know that we've been talking about self-care. And I've introduced some new concepts or some new ways of thinking about old concepts. And if you think back to some of the very early videos where I introduced the modern self-care model, one of the major domains of self-care is the mental body. It's the old brain housing group, the GRAPE, if you will. That's what we called it when we were in the Marines. And so if you saw that video, or even if you didn't, basically when we're talking about the mental body or the mental domain, we're really talking about our thoughts. And they're either going to be positive or negative, right? We're either going to be thinking something positive and empowering, or we're going to be thinking something negative, which is usually disempowering. And so I want to get into that over these next few weeks, see how long it takes us to get through it. But the goal today is really to just talk about choices and encourage you to make better choices with your thoughts. Okay, so let's see if we can get there. Does anybody know how many choices a day we make on average as human beings? Does anybody have an idea? Do you know the depth and breadth of the amount of choices that we as human beings get to make in this world, planet Earth? Well, I'll spare you the research because I looked it up. On average, everybody, an adult person here on planet Earth, makes on average about 35,000 decisions or choices each day, right? What time are we going to wake up? Are you going to brush your teeth or not? What are you going to have for breakfast? What are you going to get dressed? Do I want this job? Do I want to go to my job? Now, I admit that a lot of these decisions are probably pre-programmed. Like if you decided to take a certain job or to marry a certain person or have a certain lifestyle, a lot of your choices are going to be programmed and maybe on autopilot. And then if you've packed your life so much where you don't have a lot of spontaneous time, or you're not open to newness or spontaneity, it's going to seem like you don't have a lot of choices. But each of us has to understand that at every moment we have the ability to make a choice. We have the ability to change our minds. We have the ability to analyze a situation, see a new detail, see a new example, and make another decision, a new meaning, or reinforce the old meaning about what we have about anything. Our spouse, our job, our body, our relationship to God, or whatever you aspire towards. Okay, it's all choice. It's all freedom of choice. All we have is our choices. Did you know that some people believe that you even chose to have the life that you're living now? And it's really up to you to either live it to its full potential or not. Did you also know that depression, things like depression are uniquely human, right? That's all in the mind. Okay, so if you're not on board with this train of believing that we control our thoughts and we choose our thoughts, then you need to catch up because it's 2019. There's a lot of great literature, a lot of great movement that was done in the thought world, even as far back as the 70s. And even before, about what we can do. There's a great book that I just reread called Your Erroneous Zones by Dr. Wayne Dyer, who's a psychiatrist. Sold 35 million copies back in the 1970s, and he spends over 200 pages explaining to you how your thoughts are your own choice, and how if they feel like they're not, it's just a product of conditioning you've had, right? By, where you were raised or who you were raised by. But there's an ability to break all that. Okay? And so I want you to think about that, 35,000 choices a day, and just do a little mental exercise with me and try and make a guess about how many of those choices you're directing towards positive thinking. Thinking positively about your family or positively about yourself, liking how you look, liking the progress that you're making in your self-care. Even if you're not exactly where you want to be today, are you finding little victories? Or are you continually using the information that your brain is processing to beat up the situations, to feel negatively or think negatively, think the worst of people, see the worst in everything, feel the worst in everything? You really have to get honest with this, because when you think about that, 35,000 decisions a day, that's a tremendous amount of brain power. We want to get as much of that out of the unconscious as possible so that we are proactively, with awareness, on a conscious level, making these decisions so that we can make better ones, especially if we're mature adults. Nobody watching this video is a kid or an adolescent. And so all the adults, if you're checking this video out, you have the ability to upgrade your thoughts and get them into the positive column, okay? So that's my challenge to you. I want you to think about these 35,000 thoughts a day and try and give yourself an honest, no BS assessment of how many of them are in the positive category. How positively are you actually feeling, okay? If there's not a majority of those thoughts that are positive, then you are creating a negative momentum, all right? And so the only way to counteract that is to create a positive momentum, and that's with positive thinking, okay? So we're gonna address how you can create that positive momentum or get that, but the first step is really just identifying where you're at, okay? Really being honest with yourself. What's going through your mind? You know, what's going through your mind, positive or negative? Do that one little thing, and that could change the trajectory of your thought body, your self-care, which is related to other things in your life over the next 12 months, 5 years, 10 years, and so on, okay? I know this is true because I've lived it myself, all right? At 18, many of you know I lost 100 pounds by eating a can of tuna a day. And I can tell you that my thought process in the 10 years leading up to that period, that event, was very different to the thought process that I had going through that weight loss, and then the thought process that I've been able to evolve in the years since. Okay, I'm a living testament that you can change your thoughts, because the things that I was thinking about myself and others from the age of 12 to 18, and even from 18 to 30, and from 30 to 45, has evolved tremendously. But it's taken work. It's taken the desire for me to know better, to do better, to open my heart and to open my mind, and to really exploring what's true and stripping out a lot of that negative conditioning that I'd allowed myself to accumulate, right? Okay, so that's the idea. Think about choices, 35,000 choices. I'm gonna give you a little hint why this is also important. I read one time that to create a positive momentum, a real positive momentum, it's gonna require 2 million good decisions, all right? Now, if you do the math like I've done, if you take 2 million and divide it by 35,000, you'll see how many years it takes you, if you're making consistent good decisions, how you can get an overwhelming positive momentum, like an unstoppable one. Guess how long it takes? 57 years, okay? 57 years. So are you prepared to make good decisions for 57 years in a row so that you can really clean out? I know I am. That's what we should be striving for, my friends. All right, that's my time. Little bit disoriented today. I'm gonna reshoot this, but thanks for checking it out. This is video 17, Choices.